Okay. So how's everything going?
Everything is doing fine. It's a rainy day today and it's Halloween. So I wonder how the children are going to go trick or treating with the rain. They go anyway, right?
Oh yeah, they'll go because the incentive is too great.
Yes.
Packs
So
and packs of sugar
they will
candy.
brave the weather and
Yeah,
everything just because the incentive is
yeah,
great. So
yeah.
wow.
The
Mhm.
um the middle schoolers this morning at Denver School of the Arts they were amped up. They were,
They were, yes.
and I think tomorrow it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be
Yeah.
they're all going to be
The reward,
quiet. Yeah,
yes. So it's
yeah.
going to be harder for you tomorrow after
Well, no, I think it was harder today because
because
they
of the
were all very
excitement,
energetic, let's say.
for what is
Mm.
coming tonight, the promise of
Well,
tonight.
not, I think it's sugar. It's a diet of sugar all day because they had their treats and the teachers are passing out treats and
Mhm. Yeah, it's very funny talking about Halloween. In France, we've started doing it, celebrating it. Not we kids don't go trick or treating, but I remember we moved here in 2014, and I had a very good friend, and I remember we had an argument
uh-huh, uh-huh.
because of Halloween, and I probably was critical about Halloween because I moved here with my ideas. I told you I would call the restaurants before we go there to say ask them if they had grass-fed meats and things
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So I had my kind of bougie spirit. I wouldn't say bougie, but in France,
So what was that? You said bougie?
yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think
What does that mean?
snobbish.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't think, I mean, I wouldn't call it snobbish, but it might be seen as snobbish. Uh,
Mm.
but it's just saying that I care about the food the food
Uh-huh,
generally I
uh-huh.
eat. Anyway, but I do remember I had an issue with Halloween because I am anti-candy. I don't like candies a
Yeah.
lot just because I don't believe that it does any good
Uh-huh.
in the
Yeah.
body. It does
Yeah.
good. Kids love it, but I don't think it's good for the long-term health.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was critical. My kids went trick-or-treating because they love it. And we had like a pillow full of candy. Like it was insane. It was insane. And I was commenting, I had a hard time because I didn't know what to do with that. And I was like, well, I don't want to give it to my children. I don't want to give it to anybody because if it's not good for my children, it's not good for anyone. And so I remember saying, I think it's just bad to give so many candies to children.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
then I think we should just pass out oranges and mandarins. And I remember that friend, she took it as a personal attack to the country that
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
welcomed me, and that I shouldn't be critical because it's a wonderful way for children to connect with neighbors and
Mm.
that it's just fun. So every Halloween I think about it. My children still go trick or treating. Some
Yeah.
years I pass out candies, some
Yeah.
years I don't. I still believe that sugar is not great for the kids,
Yeah.
but I will pass out candies and I let my kids have candies and just accept the way.
Do you monitor them and say, well, you can only have this much candy or you can
I've tried sometimes. It does more bad than good. So
Mm.
I just let them eat. And then at some point, I just take the rest and hide it or throw it or give it away sometimes. But again, it's very hard for me because I don't do, if I had the choice, I would just destroy it or but yeah, sometimes I just give it away and I know they send it to the troops, the military, so sometimes I give it there too. but
So
it
that's
doesn't
all
it
we
doesn't
need is
solve
a bunch of
it doesn't
soldiers
solve
who are,
yeah, it doesn't solve my mental issues, but I have accepted, just to live with the discomfort. It's not
yeah.
ideal. I do things that I'm not happy with, and I just accept it the way it is, I guess. So
Yeah, it's funny how like I've had numerous conversations with people about this over the years. How every holiday in the United States, at least, seems to be centered around sugar
mm,
somehow. So Halloween for sure, uh, maybe Thanksgiving not so much, but Christmas, yes.
yeah.
Valentine's Day,
Oh,
you know,
Thanksgiving, yeah. So it's a lot of food,
yeah,
and it's good. We won't take away the celebration, but when I ask myself, can we just see the good and not the bad, or
uh,
can we see the good and take the bad with it, because it's the collateral damage, it's a side effect. They go together. There is good
uh,
and there is bad, because
yeah,
it's just the way things are. It's just the way the world are. So it's food for thought.
yeah.
Will you feel like Thanksgiving? Yes, I've played I cook a lot too. There is plenty of food, right?
Hmm.
And it's fun, it's good.
Yeah.
And then it's not so good because you just don't feel good because you've eaten so much,
Yeah,
right?
that's kind of an American tradition. It's sort of that's to me growing up. That was the way it should be. You're going to stuff yourself on Thanksgiving, and then the traditional thing is, then you're just going to sit and maybe loosen your belt and sit on the couch, and you're going to watch football
Yeah.
in the evening. And
Yeah, it's party. Is it that, like, in France we have a saying that says après la pluie le beau temps, or um after the rainbows after the rain, or is it a way of
mm,
saying that everything has a consequence,
uh-huh,
either
uh-huh,
good or bad,
mm,
and there is a cause, there is an effect, and
uh-huh,
just learn to be with it, to be with the discomfort, to be
yeah,
with as long as the consequence, you don't try to avoid the consequence. Like, if you eat a lot of sugar, my kids, Noah, he will eat a lot of sugar and he will be sick and he
uh-huh,
will
yeah,
be suffering. And but does that prevent him from eating a lot of candy the next day if he can? No. So I guess the point is, you always pay the consequence. Now, are you okay
yeah,
with the consequence or not?
yeah, yeah,
It's what how is the thing that is happening to you occurring to you? Like,
mm,
I know that I will not eat, I don't know, yogurt, because I know it doesn't go well with my tummy afterwards. But sometimes I finish Bella Joy's yogurt, and I
uh-huh.
just say, but when I'm doing it, I know that I will suffer the consequence later. And I guess I am okay with the consequence.
Does that come from maybe not wanting to waste food?
Sometimes it's just that
'Cause
it
I know
looks
I've done that too, you know.
yeah.
It's like, well,
I would
the
say
kid didn't finish, so I'll just go ahead and eat it because
because sometimes it looks yummy, or
yeah,
sometimes I don't want to waste it, or
yeah,
sometimes I do just throw it, but it depends on what's important to me uh,
mm,
at that time. And
mm,
I was in this landmark course. I had like 3
yeah,
intense days, 12 hours, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
mm,
And we were discussing to try and figure out what is behind every action we take.
mm,
And we end up saying that we take an action because of what the thing that we are doing, how it occurs to us, meaning the importance we give to it, right?
okay,
And I mean, it's like it was an hour or 2 hour discussion, and there is a lot of things that I will need to explain to get there. But basically, it just say that, for example, if you're on a diet and then you eat, it's because of what you're eating means to you, how it occurs to you.
So at the moment, and you're maybe not thinking in terms of the long term
You're thinking about the long
consequence.
term, but it's what at the core. I mean, what's the deeper
Okay.
belief, you know? Do you eat maybe because you don't think you're ever going to be able to be thin, or because uh,
Okay.
you're not capable of it, or you're not good enough, or so it's a deeper context.
Yeah.
There is a deeper reason for why you're sabotaging your diet, for example.
Yeah. A lot of it for me, I think if I'm and I like the candy. I enjoy it, and I think for me maybe it's just in the moment. It's like, well, I I love the taste of this, and I love the feeling of this in my body's it's going down, and I'm thinking in terms of, well, what's good for me right now? What am I going to enjoy right now?
So
And I'm not
delayed
thinking about
gratification.
what's that?
It's made me think of delayed gratification. So you want
Yes,
the
yeah,
immediate, the quick fix
yeah.
versus the delayed gratification.
Right, right. It's like, well, having a thin body, or even it's actually not so much that in the long term. It's more in the short term, like the day after or a couple of hours later, right? When I'm like, oh wow, there's some into the. I don't know if you've read Ray Dalio's book, Principles. He talks about anything we do, anything we decide to do has first order consequences, and then it has second order consequences, and then it has long term consequences. So the first order consequences of me eating a Snickers bar are actually great, right? Because of the taste of it, the feel of it in my mouth, and everything. But the second order, maybe a couple of hours later, when I'm start to feeling some indigestion or heartburn or something, that's, oh well, and I'm not thinking about that necessarily in the moment when I'm eating the candy bar, but later on there's a reminder of that. And then of course the long-term consequences are if you continue this over and over again, your weight's not going to be where it wants you. There's other health issues that you're going to encounter. But it seems like we're always skewed towards the immediate, like you're saying, the immediate gratification rather than the delayed
Yeah.
gratification.
It's interesting because I'm thinking while you're talking, it's making me think of two books that are very different, but I think they're both saying the same thing. It say that there is nothing we can do again, because of no, there is nothing we can do about it. It's all genetics. It's all how our brain is constituted. For example, one of the books is the Scattered Brain from Gabor Mate. He talks about ADHD, and the ADHD kids, the way their brain is done, and the prefrontal cortex, the way it is developed, those kids, they're not able to go for the delayed gratification. So if you say you will have $5 now, I'll give you $5 right away, or I'll give you $100 in a month.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They will go for the $5 now.
Yep. Yep.
Because of the way their brain is. And the other book says that some people, for example, are the way their brain is done, they will always struggle with overeating, for example. And that was a book about, diets and obesity and all of that. That, some people, they're just better be off sugar all their lives, because the minute they start eating a little sugar again, they go down the rabbit hole. And then
Yeah. Well,
and
it
she
is.
said,
It's as far as an addictive substance.
she says it's
It's
genetics.
maybe the most
She said it's
addictive.
genetic. There is nothing you can do about it. And I forgot her name. There is this great podcast that I listen. It's The School of Greatness by Lewis Hughes. And she was I forgot her name, but she was talking about her concept. I think she has a diet and all of that, saying that, well, for some people, There's nothing to do. It's just the way your brain is. You are never going to be able to control when you eat pasta or when you eat bread. So there are some foods that you just cut off your life.
So some people are predisposed to overeating simple carbs and complex carbs, and they just
Exactly.
have.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
well I well I don't know where I fit on that spectrum, but it's kind of interesting to when I am not paying attention, and when it definitely has, like pasta, for example, with some penny pasta with some Alfredo sauce. There's nothing better than that in the short term, but in the long term, I've known that the long term consequences of that for me, over like the next day or whatever, are not desirable.
Yeah. So what would you do? So is it something that is going to be part of your life, or is it something that you're gonna um, discipline yourself to say, well, because it doesn't go well with me, it's gonna be just once a month or once a week,
Yeah,
or
it's pretty rare actually that I do pasta itself. But other things like pizza and bread, I'll occasionally indulge with it, knowing full well that when I'm eating it, it's like, well, there's going to be something that's going to happen
yeah,
that you might not like, that's going to happen later. But
yeah.
anyway,
So we went from
well,
Halloween to what do you do right away? The choice, like the
yeah,
yeah, the consequences basically of whatever we do. Well, everything has consequence, I would
yeah.
probably
Yeah, well, I'll tell you,
summarize.
then we should cut this because we're at time. But I because of this new intermittent fasting protocol, I don't think I would have done it before, but I might have this afternoon. When there's handing out candy and everything, I was, oh yeah, give me some candy. I'm gonna have some of that. I'm gonna enjoy it. But this morning, because of my intermittent fasting protocol, it's like, no, no, not gonna do it.
And you were okay. You were okay with it.
Oh yeah, I was definitely okay with it. It wasn't even like it was a hard choice or a temptation or anything like that. It was just like, nope, this is the decision I made, and
I
I'm
love that.
sticking with it. Yeah.
I
So
love that. So the power of decision, the power of commitment, right?
yes,
And
yes, yeah.
agreement. Yeah. Maybe we can dig deeper in
Dig
that.
deeper into that tomorrow. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank
Have
you,
a happy
everyone. Happy
Halloween. I'm gonna
Halloween.
I'm gonna wear these for the
Happy
for the
Halloween. See
duration.
you tomorrow. Bye
All
bye.
right. See ya. Okay. All right. Whoops.